For this year's Distinguished Service Award, we travel to Bowman, South Carolina, home of the famed UFO Welcome Center right in the heart of town. In this case, however, UFO might as well stand for unity, farming, and optimism. And instead of a flying saucer, the icon could be a cow, truck, or tractor. Those are the icons best associated with Landy Weathers, the oldest of 4 children of Lawrence Martin and Frances Landrum Weathers of Bowman. Landy, a third-generation farmer, currently oversees the daily operations of 3 full-time agribusinesses: a row crop operation, Circle W Farms, a dairy, Weathers Farms, and Weathers Trucking Incorporated. He took on management of the dairy operation when his little brother was called into service by the governor. More on that later. Trying to get Landy to talk about himself is tough. Instead, conversations with the humble farmer invariably turn to his admiration of those who paved the way for his success well before the dairy operation was even founded in Bowman in 1927. Landy grew up a witness of the importance of faith, family, friends, farming, and of course, Farm Bureau. Long before Landy was born, his family was already working hard to build a heritage of innovation and a sense of community. His great-grandfather established the Bowman Cotton Gin. His grandfather served in the State House of Representatives, began the Bowman Telephone Company, and was an instrumental co-founder of the Southern Methodist Church, a denomination Landy and his family participate in today. His grandfather began the dairy operation in 1927, and 16 years later formed the Weathers Trucking Company as a means to transport their milk to foreign markets like Charleston and Greenville. With such a broad lineage of hard workers, it's no surprise that Landy grew up an active participant on the farm. He learned to rake hay and had other farm chores when he was about 6 years old. Later, while in high school, Landy got his turn in the dairy.
The 10th and 11th grade. Daddy made me milk every weekend for those 2 years.
Landy learned to juggle his schedule back then, as he and co-workers would take off to a drive-in movie on the way to Friday and Saturday night midnight milking chores.
And the reason we went to drive-in, I think, looking back on it, was first we could eat as much as we want to eat, like hot dogs, and we could go in our work clothes because you didn't have to get out of the car. And we would leave that movie and go straight to the dairy.
Landy is quick to mention that the dairy business never shuts down. The family's 80-year-old dairy has been in operation milking cows twice a day, every day. Over time, that's totaled more than 43,800 milkings. That was enough to convince Landy to take up an interest in something other than dairy. With a keen interest and curiosity for the mechanical, Landy, who graduated with 11 others from Bowman High School, went off to Clemson to become an ag engineer. He later changed his major to agronomy and graduated in 1972 before he moved back home to help with the family farm. Leadership opportunities have always come naturally to the Bowman native, especially in the 1980s. That's when Landy served as state president of the Young Farmer Association, was an advisor in the association's Bowman chapter. He was elected to the local school board, and he became Sunday school superintendent in his church. Other leadership positions Landy has held include participating in Boy State, serving on the church board of directors, chair of Orangeburg County's FSA committee, and serving on the Clemson Board of Visitors. And of course, there are the Farm Bureau positions, including county board member and president, state board member, director at large, and now vice president of the Coastal District. In 2003, President Winkles offered Landy's name to American Farm Bureau President Bob Stallman, who appointed Landy to a 2-year national study committee to forecast the future of agriculture in America.
Landy serves South Carolina agriculture and Farm Bureau very well. I know that from talking to the people down there. But what some may not know is how hard he worked on our national project, our MAP project, which was about making American agriculture productive and profitable for the future. And Landy spent 2 years with many hours of hard work contributing to that very successful effort of that committee.
I live in Bowman, South Carolina, population 1,200 people, okay? And we ship milk. And I've grown up always thinking that our competition is maybe somebody in another county, another town. Our competition is China Argentina, Brazil.
Of course, competition is nothing new to the Weathers family. Landy and his farming partner, little brother Hugh, often joke about being from a split family, since Landy graduated from Clemson and Hugh finished from that other school somewhere around Columbia. The two took on much of the day-to-day farm work in the mid-1990s. Landy handled the row crop side while brother Hugh handled the dairy.
We don't always agree on things. I don't know if anybody that's listening to me has got a brother or sister. I will assure you that everybody doesn't always agree with everything, and we certainly haven't. But we usually find common ground, and common ground has always been family.
Everybody who mixes family and business knows that it's a challenge.
Oh, and about that call to Hugh from the governor about serving as interim ag commissioner. Landy was one of the first people Hugh called when he learned his name was being considered for the job.
About taking that responsibility on, Blanche and I, we prayed about it, talked about it, and we said if the doors were open, we'd take that opportunity. One of those doors was held by Landy, in that if the support he gave me to do that just really let me know and let me have the confidence it was the right thing to do.
Of course, we all know the outcome of that appointment. Hugh was named to the post and later, with the help of his brother, won his first election to the constitutional office. That was a big move for the Weathers family and meant that in September of 2004, Landy would become the full-time manager of the triad of farming operations, including the dairy. Remember, that was the same time when Landy was on that AFBF 2-year study committee requiring travels across the country. But much like those who went before him, he managed to fulfill his responsibilities and maintained his commitment to church, family, friends, and farm. Landy credits a loving and supportive family at home and on the farm for allowing him to hold Farm Bureau and other community leadership positions.
I couldn't do any of these things without my family back home supporting me, and definitely B, my employees and those loyal employees I've got.
One of Landy's most enthusiastic supporters is his wife of nearly 30 years.
He's very dedicated. I think that he is a very smart man. He is a very good farmer. And I think the thing that he does and the thing that Farm Bureau does for all of the farmers is wonderful, because Landy has always said that nobody will do anything for farmers, so they have to do it themselves.
Landy and Susan will celebrate their 30th wedding anniversary next June. Landy didn't quite say it was love at first sight when he met the Winthrop co-ed at a party through a mutual friend, but the reaction was enough to drop the girl he was dating at the time to begin a 3-year courtship with Susan.
Sparks.
I thought I liked him. I thought he was hot. He had pretty hair. Had long, it's kind of long over his ears, and I just really liked him. He's tall. Yeah, he was very attractive. Still is.
The sparks were long-lasting. In fact, it was some years later when Landy fell head over heels, literally. It seems he passed out in the operating room during the delivery of their second child, Landrum.
As soon as we saw Landrum, he looked at me and he said, "We have a son," and he kissed me, and I turned to look at him, and all I could see were legs and feet because he had passed out.
They wanted to do a documentary about Lamaze or something at the Orangeburg Hospital, so somehow it was a filming involved. Either Landy was nervous with the cameras or nervous with the blood or nervous with something, because all 6'4" of him went to the floor, and I think they had to edit that out. But that's been a pretty famous little scene around Orangeburg for quite a while.
In many ways, Landy is like so many other farmers. For them, farming is more than a job. It's a lifestyle. Once it's in your veins, there's no denying the call of the land.
The lifestyle is like no other lifestyle. It's certainly frustrating. It's been economically challenging, to say the least, over a lot of years. This year's been a pretty good year as far as commodity prices and so forth.
But it has also been a trying year, especially in March of 2007. It was on St. Patrick's Day when Weathers Farm's office and work shed burnt to the ground. And just 2 days later, the Weathers patriarch and beloved dad passed away.
It amazes me the number of people that think they can get by without strong faith. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. It's basically what it says. But in my case, I've always believed that the give part is a lot more. It's 100-fold more than the taking away part. It gives us a whole lot more than it takes away. He took away my daddy this year. He took away my brother's wife this year. He took away our shop and office building this year. But those are the next. But but look at what else he's given us.
The Lord provided Landy with a son who shares his passion for farming. Landrum is back on the farm, exercising the knowledge he gained before graduating in agriculture from Clemson. Landrum enjoys the responsibility of working the farm when his dad is attending to Farm Bureau business.
I always like, responsibility, and by him leaving, he kind of puts a lot of that on me, which is fine. I mean, that's, kind of why I'm here. But, I understand the goals and the reason behind all of it. So that's, I don't really mind it. Sometimes things might go better whenever he's not here, but that's kind of a little joke that we sometimes, we kind of look forward whenever he goes away for a little bit and gives us all a break.
But when it comes to Farm Bureau's Distinguished Service Award, there's nothing to joke about.
There's nobody any more deserved to win this award than Frances Price. I mean, for what all she's done all these years, and I know I'm singling out somebody, and I don't mean to do that, but she is as deserved as anybody to win this award. And then to tell me that the very next year I'm in her company, that's just kind of overwhelming to me.
It is well deserved. You're hardworking, and we appreciate all of your efforts on behalf of Farm Bureau and Agriculture.
Well, obviously I'm very proud of him receiving it. I've been there for many of the presentations and know that the people who've gotten it have spent a good number of years making Farm Bureau better. Landy certainly fits that mold, working a lot of times behind the scenes. But now I think his efforts are being recognized, and certainly I'm proud of that. Glad to be a part of it, and it gives us all a lot of pride.
Be chosen for this, and to be chosen the way that you're chosen, that certainly is quite an honor.
It's been said that a man has three names: the name he inherits, the name his parents give him, and the name he makes for himself. Well, tonight, we call Landy Weathers, Farm Bureau's 2007 Distinguished Service Award recipient.